Hi, I'm Wade Connect. I am 22 years old and was born in early 2000. During that time, my dad owned a construction concrete company that ran from about 98 to about 2006, 2007. So obviously, I was able to grow up around that, whether it was visiting him at jobs or just seeing him uh, do drawings or work with things at home. And so from an early age, I had a lot of tools, or was given, old hand-me-down tools that I could just play with. I might not have known what they were, what they were used for, but I kind of got the feel for them. And then that just kind of led my track to be outdoors as a child for the most part. Um, Growing up, we grew up out in the country, so we didn't have a lot of neighbors. I was fortunate enough to have some neighbors around me that were the same age, so I was able to play with them sometimes, but sometimes not. I'm also an only child, so I didn't have any siblings to exactly play with as well. So just a lot of things I had to find to do on my own, which also led me into just playing outside and then sports early on, being a part of a team, learning like the foundation for teamwork and leadership and etc. And so I started off playing basketball, football, baseball, track, and then wrestling. And so throughout those sports, they taught me a lot of attributes I still have today, and I was able to carry up those from grade school to up until high school, where I actually did swim and football as my two sports throughout all 4 years. And from there, it helped me gain a knowledge and love for weightlifting and exercising. I think sports just taught me the discipline to keep in shape and to always have to make sure you have endurance, etc. And that also helped very well with construction, being out on the hot days and being able to keep going, knowing what to do, knowing how to stay like replenished, hydrated, and just overall health, I guess, going along with construction. So that helped me stay safe. Going through high school, I worked construction and I also served as well as playing the two sports I mentioned earlier. So I think that also disciplined me for working more hours and being able to stay on top of, say, schoolwork and sports along with working. I ended up serving at a local restaurant, Christo's. So that was a good experience, a lot in communication and then talking with people, dealing with either people's problems or sometimes their attitudes. As anybody knows, in a restaurant, it's not always easy dealing with either the customer or the server, just because of maybe the day that they're having. So I think that helped a lot with me just gain knowledge and people skills to help me in construction as well, going into a management role. Obviously going to college, I'm going to Purdue for construction management, but I was lucky enough to have this school, in my backyard growing up around on the outskirts of Lafayette. So I didn't really have to move too far, and that was very nice. I know construction in college, I worked for two companies and then had two internships as well for two different companies, or same company but two different summers. I started off when I got out of high school. I ended up working for Milestone the very summer after high school. So I actually started like with an internship kind of during the summer after graduating. And so Milestone is a highway company here in Lafayette. They have a few other bases around Lafayette and Ohio as well. And so they're heavy highway and civil bridges. They've done a lot of things around Lafayette, and I've done a lot of either roadways or addition roads or add-ons, things like that. With them, I kind of got my feet wet in estimating, scheduling, and then just overall some of the office work. They brought me in the office, but then also they put me on surveying crews, so I learned a lot about that as far as either staking, radial surveying, measuring elevations, and doing cuts and fills with, say, stone, dirt, anything as far as subgrades. And then I also had a background in concrete from high school, so when I didn't have anything to do for surveying or office work, I was able to work closely with the concrete crew and just do anything from them, anything from laboring, being in the concrete, to finishing, just to setting up formwork. So that was very nice. I also worked at Ely, which is the same concrete company I worked at in high school during the summers. So that was nice to be out of then. And then I worked for them outside of class, just anytime I could, going to and from the job site. They're more of a residential concrete company. So they specialize in following a lot of the production home builders around in the additions, doing foundations, slabs, driveways, sidewalk. We've also done quite a few big enterprises as far as major factory floors, manufacturing buildings, things like that. They are a subcontractor to a normal general contractor. So that was different going into my internships. I had 2 internships spanning the summers of 20 and 21. So the first internship, I was out in Maryland. And this was for Hensel Phelps, which is a big general contractor out in, they're across the U.S., but they have a very big district in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and metro area. So that's where I started. I was lucky enough to receive a all-paid internship out there, where I was able to gain more knowledge, more on the office contracts and documents side, as well as just field work, and then major field operations, because a lot of their buildings, they're the main general contractors, so they're doing everything, or at least overseeing everything, and all the subcontractors, versus me working for Ely, which was a subcontractor for concrete, and Milestone, which is a general contractor, but a smaller deal of work as far as just being roadway and civil. So out there, I was able to manage some subcontractors, just different ones throughout a building. I was on a hotel and headquarters for the Marriott. So that building was about 360 million. Total on both buildings. I was more on the hotel side, so I got to see a lot of the fabrication of it, and then obviously just both buildings being built up as they were doing topping outs for the slabs and columns and everything for the buildings. So throughout there, I came home with a a lot deeper understanding of just the overall construction process and how it works on a big scale, because they do deal with such big dollar amounts and then big volume as far as work. My second internship actually landed me out in Virginia, and about 45 minutes south of where I was the previous summer. And so that was a little bit different experience, because I was on a medical office building, so not really, it's more of an outpatient, not an ER or anything. But there I got to see a lot of the things through the plans and equipment of how much goes into just an office building that would do, x-rays, MRIs, and that type of thing, of just all the lead times for the equipment that was required in the hospital, and then all like the cleanliness as they were getting close to finishing up the hospital that needed to be done to make sure that everything was still sterile, and that nothing was trapped or radiant, in the air. So that was definitely different. They had a lot more stringent rules out there and restrictions, so that was definitely a new experience. And then also just dealing with a different set of plans. I hadn't really looked or read about any of office plan or medical plans or things to deal with closely with hospitals before, so this was just another new scope of work. I was lucky enough after that summer to receive a job offer, in which I accepted and will be leaving for after we graduate in May. So I was fortunate enough to get that full-time position, and it will be back in that Maryland, Virginia area. Once I kind of build up my credit and I'm able to be and improve myself, I hope to transfer to the Tennessee, hopefully Nashville district that they opened in this past year. Obviously, I will go anywhere that the company needs me to go for the first years, as I'm grateful for the position. But that's hopefully my future plan, and then I'll be able to settle down there and build a family. Thank you.